when I tell them that I'm from Pakistan, they say, Bathiye. So it's so touching that everybody in China knows about China-Pakistan friendship. This Iron Brotherhood is time-tested. No matter which government is in power, strength of our relationship, it remains solid, rock solid in all those years.
Welcome to CCG Dialogue with Ambassadors. So I'm very pleased today to welcome Ambassador from Pakistan, Your Excellency Maureen Haki. So welcome to CCG. And as we know that China and Pakistan has really enjoyed all-weather good friendship and has been really called Iron Brotherhood, Bati. You know, it really means friendship as good as iron, as strong as iron, as solid as iron. So that's really a great compliment. So you've been in China a year and a half now. So what is your general impression on China, and particularly with the China-Pakistan relationship?
Thank you, Dr. Wang. It's a great pleasure and honor to be at the Center of for China and Globalization, CCG. My first time here, and to be very pleased to be on this dialogue with ambassadors. You very rightly mentioned this word, this expression, Bathiye, to describe China-Pakistan friendship. And in my last 18 months in China, where I have gone to different cities, to small towns, to villages, and when I tell them that I'm from Pakistan, they say, Bathiye. So it's so touching that everybody in China knows about China-Pakistan friendship. This Iron Brotherhood, Mr. Wang, is time-tested. It is timeless. This relationship between our two countries is very unique and very special. And it has been nurtured over the years by successive generation of leadership and our people. No matter which government is in power, either in Pakistan or in China, our relationship remains constant. And it is also, I think, has not been affected by any upheavals or vicissitudes in the international or regional politics or development. So that is the strength of our relationship. It remains solid, rock solid in all those years. It is, besides a very solid relationship between two governments, between two people, it has also, I think, in the last 70 years, in fact, last year we celebrated our 70 years of a diplomatic relation. In these last seven decades of our journey, we have come a long way in terms of putting a very strong framework, foundation for our political and high-level exchanges between our leadership. But also in recent years, we are now realized the importance of a relationship in the areas of trade, in the areas of investments, and our economic and financial cooperation. And China-Pakistan corridor is one of the one of the manifestation of that. And China has become Pakistan's largest trading partner. And despite this COVID-19 pandemic, our trade relationship last year increased by more than 70%, which is very remarkable that we are not trying to find various ways and means to expand access to each other's market. We have a free trade agreement with China and between
great.
China. And the phase 2 of that was launched in January 2020. So it is also contributing to this growing trade relationship.
And I know that recently there was some prime minister has been changed, but as we said at the beginning, you know, there was always historically, no matter how many change of the government, the strong ties between the two countries has always been there, has always been sustained. So we certainly can hope that our strong ironwood relationship will continue even with the new prime minister that's coming up, I suppose.
Surely, you know, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif, who has been elected as the new Prime Minister of Pakistan, last night after his election in the National Assembly in the Parliament of Pakistan, when he was making a speech and talking about the foreign policy, the first country that he mentioned was China. And he passionately spoke about this relationship for quite a long time, because he has been coming to China quite often with his elder brother, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, who used to be the Prime Minister, 3 times Prime Minister of Pakistan, and had very close relationship with Chinese leadership, Chinese enterprises. And he has been Mr. Shehbaz Sharif was the Chief Minister of Punjab at that time, and many important projects, CPEC projects, were executed in his province, Punjab province, the largest province of Pakistan. Especially this Orange Metro train, which is the first mass transit project in Pakistan done by China under CPEC, and many other energy projects. So he is very passionate. I'm sure that he would be looking forward to visiting China very soon and welcoming President Xi in Pakistan also for his next visit.
So we know that actually China and Pakistan has enjoyed such a great relation, and China's Belt and Road Initiative. Certainly, one of the main route was with Pakistan on this China-Pakistan economic corridor. And that is really a very important project. Perhaps, you can give some, shed some light on the progress and what has been achieved and how that can be cooperated further.
And CPEC, as I mentioned, is a very important project. In fact, I think it's one of the most important projects under BRI. And for Pakistan, it has been a transformational project, a game changer. The first phase of CPEC was focused on infrastructure development, energy, and the development of the Gwadar port. It helped in improving highways, motorways, upgradation of our railway line, main railway is part of the CPEC project. Energy, Pakistan had faced for last many years acute shortage of energies. So under CPEC, very major energy projects, be it hydro or thermal, coal or solar or wind, were established. And it helped put new megawatts of energy into our system, which helped to address this acute energy shortages. Most importantly, Dr. Wang, the second phase of CPEC is extremely important because it aligns with the socio-economic development agenda of our country, of our government. It focuses on industrialization. Now, this is a very important area because we think that CPEC has to go into the next phase of spreading a chain of industries in different sectors in country, for which we are establishing special economic zones in our country. Very attractive incentives are being offered for the Chinese investors as well, and also for other foreign investors who would like to take part in the CPEC projects. Just mention about the Gwadar port, which we say a crown jewel of CPEC. It is a port located in the south of Pakistan, about 300 kilometers from our Karachi port. It's a deep port, and already functional now, and the trade has started coming through this port. It is a new international airport is being built. So it was just a fishing village, and we hope that like Shenzhen, which some years ago used to be a fishing village, but now it's a world-class city, that Gwadar port is going to be developed on that model. And we are now also inviting third countries to take part in CPEC projects. We have also discussed with China to extend CPEC projects to neighboring countries, first being Afghanistan also. So some of the projects we will go undertake together for our brotherly and neighbor country Afghanistan also.
That's actually a very good approach. I think if a Gwadar port become another special economic zone like Shenzhen style, that would be really make a lot of progress for the region. I mean, also glad to hear that now you are welcoming third parties to come to the CPEC, which is great. I think that is it's reflect a Belt and Road principle, jointly consulted, jointly build, and jointly benefit. I mean, absolutely good approach. So you mentioned about, for the region, neighboring countries, and I know that, China and Pakistan, and of course recently, I mean, we also had Afghanistan, and of course Russian, 6 countries related, and of course even from US, had a meeting in Anhui, in Dunxi recently. And also I remember last year, even when before the Afghanistan, US was pulling out, I mean China, Pakistan, and we already had meeting, foreign minister meetings there in China as well. So what do you, how do you assess the stability, the future development of Afghanistan? Because the war is now in all, many places are in crisis. Where I think we now, China and Pakistan and other countries can work together to really calm down what used to be a crisis place like Afghanistan. And now if we can really have a reconstruction of Afghanistan works well, that could serve as a good example for the future crisis and future reconstruction of other troubled areas. So what's your take on the China, Pakistan, and other country cooperation on rebuild Afghanistan, and how we can really work out a new prosperous Afghanistan in the future to come?
Afghanistan is a neighbor of both China and Pakistan. Mm-hmm. And the instability in Afghanistan and the war in Afghanistan mm-hmm. for the last 2 decades have been a great concern of both our countries. So this, I think, end of war in Afghanistan, the withdrawal of the US forces, and the fall of Kabul, one can say, in August last year, yes. had brought a new hope for the region, for the people of Afghanistan, first of all. And so Pakistan and China have been very closely cooperating, coordinating their positions, how to assist Afghanistan, people of Afghanistan, the new government of Afghanistan, as they move forward and establish their own government and in their rebuilding efforts. So it has helped, I think, in a very important way of bringing together the regional countries, the neighboring countries of Afghanistan, to discuss this very important issue among themselves, in a way to have a regional approach to this problem, which is common to all of us, instead of someone from outside, from far away, dictating or interfering. Yeah. So I think in that respect, this regional approach has worked so far. We have been in 3 meetings. We have synergized many of our thoughts, many of our actions, and most importantly, I think Afghan leadership, new leadership, also understand the concerns of not only their neighboring countries, but the international community. So the most important point I think that was made during these meetings in Tungshi recently was how to see how we can help the Afghan people in terms of their immediate humanitarian needs, in terms of their rebuilding of their infrastructure, education, hospitals, roads, their financial institutions. We have called on the international community, especially the United States and the European countries, to release their assets, their frozen assets, which are their money, absolutely, needed by those people at this very critical stage. Of course, we understand that this is a new government, which has just been there 7-8 months. We need to give them time to settle down. We need to help them, to give that means to govern and to help their people. So in that respect, I think the neighboring countries and the region can play a very, very important role. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned to you, that Pakistan, China have helped not only in terms of sending humanitarian needs, but also in terms of training Afghan nationals, mm-hmm. capacity building, and now with extension of CPAC to Afghanistan and other projects which China is also assisting. I think slowly and slowly these people will be able to stand on their feet.
I mean, this Afghanistan stability certainly will make our world a little safer. We hope that the Ukraine situation can be calmed down, and really China probably can also trying to work with the international community to do some mediation and things like that. So I think this Afghanistan process is very important of the significance to the world.
Yeah, I agree with you because I think the Ukrainian crisis has brought a new dimension to already tense regional environment that we had due to Afghanistan. And on Ukrainian crisis also, we have a very similar position to China, that respect to the UN Charter and non-interference in the respect for sovereignty of the countries. And we also are calling on all the parties concerned to resolve the crisis through dialogue, through diplomacy. I think we in Pakistan knows that military is not a solution. Afghanistan is a case in point.
Yeah.
It has suffered for the last 4 decades because of military conflicts. And look what happens, that country has come back to square one from where it started. So I think it is a lesson for others to see that military is not a solution. We need to resolve our differences through dialogue.
What we can do further to enhance and promote the bilateral relations that is already good, but we can make it even greater for the China-Pakistan relations.
The level of our relationship at this moment, I think, is excellent, I would say. It's the best time of between our two countries. It was very much manifested by last year's celebrations of our 70 years diplomatic ties. More than 140 events were organized to celebrate this milestone, which is unprecedented, and very high-level participation from our leadership, both in Pakistan and China, in these events. So which is not only was a reflection on what we have achieved in the 70 years past, but also was very important that we chart a new roadmap for the next 70 years. And was also very important, Mr. Wang, that the new generation, our younger generation, know about this importance of this relationship, and the investments that have been made in the past by our elders, by our leadership, should not go waste. Rather, we should build on that. So as I was mentioning earlier, the areas I think which are very important for us to take forward is in this trade field, investments fields, in agriculture. You mentioned tourism. Tourism is a very important area. I'm very passionate about that. Both our countries are beautiful countries, historical countries, rich in history, in culture, in heritage. I think we need to work more and more to have more exchanges of people and travelers and tourists, scholars, artists between our countries, so we can make this relationship even more stronger, have better understanding. COVID is, of course, is a factor which have impacted our physical exchanges, but it will go away. It will soon go away, and then we are working on that. Just to give you an example, that we have established, launched, or prepared a website on tourism in Chinese language. So it is almost ready. It's already on in the online. We are going to launch it formally soon. We have now working with Chinese tour operators, tour agencies, to see how, as soon as COVID is over, how we can take Chinese tourists to Pakistan and how we can bring them to see China. Great. I think it will be a good means to promote our friendship.
Once again, thank you very much for coming today, and really appreciate your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.